What you got your arm on my arm wrist for?
Because I want to.
Is it yours?
No, it's not.
Is it yours to take away?
I'm guessing not.
Well, then why don't you move it?
Well, why?
Because it belongs to me.
It does now.
Yes, it does.
But what if I made a point that doing that would be selfish?
Well, what if I made a point that the government taking my flag away was selfish?
How so?
Well, I mean, the Confederate flag's been around for hundreds of years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Since the Civil War.
Yeah.
Okay, so how can they take away what's not theirs?
Because they don't believe that it's right.
No, they believe that it's racist. They believe that it's slavery, right?
How can they believe it's racist when the American flag was flown before the rebel flag, but the American flag was used while they were buying slaves?
I don't know. Why don't you ask Obama that one?
Well, we can't because we're not allowed to ask him questions. We're not even allowed to be around him because he really doesn't want to hear it.
Exactly. When he came to Tennessee, we've flown our flags beside his car. He didn't like it. When he went to Oklahoma, they flew their flags beside his car. They didn't like it. He didn't like it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand it. People think that slavery is Confederate flag is of slavery and racism. When technically the American flag was flown before the Confederate flag. During the war, they also had slaves on the American side, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the southern states had the Confederate flag, right?
Mm-hmm.
So wouldn't they both stand for the same thing if they were standing for slavery or racism?
I don't think so.
Well, how do you figure, man? Explain it.
Well, I guess you said I do, but I don't. You're confusing me because you're making too much of a valid point, saying that simple fact that the American flag was flown on the ships that go buy slaves from their own tribes.
And the Confederate flag did not wave their flag on it.
The flag, I don't think, was shown until the war started.
Right. And then when the war started, we all had slaves, North and the South. Now, I'm not saying that the Confederate side didn't have any, because they did. Okay? But during the war, we started releasing our slaves.
Mm-hmm.
And the North kept their slaves until after the war. And Abe Lincoln was going to release the slaves back to Africa, but Africa would not take them. So he was going to take them to South America and drop them off in the woods, because he said they were starved anyways. But he didn't get the chance to do so because he was assassinated. See, no one knows the real history of the Confederate flag because no one wants to dig it up. They want to go by what was taught in school. And school didn't really teach the history that should have been taught. This flag is no more racist than this flag.
Actually, this flag is more racist than this flag.
How so?
Because that flag has blood on it. Blood of all. White, black, Mexican.
This flag has more blood shed by our troops, by all the slaves that were held up in the North, by everything, all the men and women who have lost their lives here in this country, by the 5 Marines who lost their lives in Chattanooga. Whereas, I want to bring up another point, get off track a little bit here. Washington, the state capital, the country's capital, never lowered their flag, never did half-staff. Tennessee made it a point to lower their flag for 5 days for each troop. Now, where is the patriotism in our country's capital?
We have no more. We've been bought out.
Obama sold out to ISIS, gave them nuclear weapons in exchange for peace, and then turn around, we get threatened by them, and yet we are still backing down from them.
Well, if we take this flag, we might as well take this one, because since we don't fight back, we fought back against everybody.
Right.
The Japanese, we bombed them because they destroyed Pearl Harbor.
Mm-hmm.
Well, ISIS cuts off the heads of our own. They're just going over there, unarmed, cuts off the head of ours, and then later on we still try to have peace with them?
Mm-hmm. This country is not the feared country that it once was.
We really didn't want to be feared. We just wanted to be respected.
Yeah,
We just wanted to be...
we were feared, but now it's like we've turned into the biggest pack of bitches this world has ever seen. We have gone as far as to back down from a terrorist group. I remember when the Twin Towers were bombed. When the planes flew into the Twin Towers, we went after who we thought did it.
We didn't get them until over a decade.
Yeah, but we got them.
Mm-hmm.
And now we've got Obama backing down from people. We've added the ISIS flag to the Hall of Flags. You believe that?
What?
Yeah,
That is... It's awful.
it is. And this is the group going around killing our troops. The Muslim, well, they say he was a Muslim. They killed our troops in Chattanooga. They said that it was because he was fighting depression.
Fighting depression.
Fighting depression.
What if I went somewhere and I went to a bank, robbed and killed many of people that were mothers, fathers, daughters, and sons? But what if I said I was fighting depression?
They would throw you in prison
Yes.
because you're not Muslim. Obama is backing the Muslim people. We have ISIS knocking on our doors.
Isn't Obama Muslim?
Yes, he is. Actually.
So he's pretty much picking favorites.
Yes. And you know, and here's what I don't understand. You have to be American, you have to be born in America to be the United States president. Okay, now, here's what I'm not understanding. How the hell did he become president?
I don't know.
I've heard many stories about this. Now, the one I do believe is that he came up with a fake birth certificate saying that he was born in Honolulu.
Well, there's been many stories about other things about that. It's just we just can't believe it. I want to get off that for a second.
Yeah. But I want to get back to my point here in this whole video. This flag is no more racist than your Black Lives Matter flag, than your Nazi symbol, than your whatever flag that you have that you want to wave and say that you know we are racist and we are slavery. You're wrong. Now some believe that flag is racist. Some white people believe it's racist. Some white people wave it for racist. I wave it because it's my Southern pride. It's my Southern heritage. But if you're going to sit here and make a challenge, and I've been hearing about these challenges too, it pissed me off.
The first one was to stop the American flag.
Yeah.
Now it's to take the rebel flag, the Confederate flag away, to pull it off someone's pole. But what they don't understand, that's like me coming into your yard, picking up your gnomes or your lights that's put into the ground, and then taking them and throwing them away just because I don't like it. That gnome was staring at me the wrong way.
Call it vandalism.
Huh?
Vandalism.
Vandalism. Oh, so it's called vandalism. It doesn't matter if they are showing wrong in a wrong way. They're showing a rebel flag says something racist because they have rebel flags with print on them. It doesn't matter if they're doing that. You're still going into that.
Or is that destroying somebody else's property?
It's vandalism.
Yes.
But see, you show a valid point here. But now, if I go on someone's porch and they're waving some a European flag, and I rip it off of that, wouldn't I be considered vandalizing?
Yes.
And wouldn't I be charged for that?
And you would also be charged of vandalism and vandalism of a country's flag, which is actually punished by prison time.
Mm-hmm.
But Confederate flag was actually part of America.
American history.
Yes.
So okay, now you brought up something else there. So what you're saying is they're banning American history, right?
Pretty much.
Now, are they allowed to do that?
No, just like the Germans.
Mm-hmm.
The Germans, they fought Hitler. They were pretty much scared into it. They can't just delete that from their past. The only thing you could do is to embrace it and move forward.
And I thought we've been doing that for the past 100 years, right?
Yeah.
So,
We're people bringing this up about the Confederate flag being racist. It's not. Don't you see? Doing that is starting a race war that was never started. See, we never, after the Civil War, we didn't fight anymore. We had no reason to. We just wanted to keep our flag. That's all we wanted to keep.
in our history.
In our history, which is our flag, pretty much. It's our heritage.
But America changed our history. The North changed our history as it went along and made it to be racist and about slavery and made this flag pure.
Which is not. But I'm going to get back to the thing I was talking about. The flag, we can't just delete that from a history. We have to embrace it and continue on. We can't just take it away and replace it. There's nothing to replace. It's a monument. That flag's pretty much a monument. After something's been there so long, it cannot be destroyed. It's against the law. So now, all of those who oppose it, it's not exactly breaking the law, it's breaking the code, really. You're destroying something that is a part of our history. That's just so much as destroying the American flag or destroying the Constitution. We can't destroy something that we didn't help make.
Exactly. The First Amendment is about no flags. You cannot disgrace the flags. You cannot ban the flags. You cannot do anything to the flag for that matter.
If it was a real problem about the Confederate flag, it would have been
brought up years ago.
It would have been brought up after the war. It would have been banished. It would have been destroyed. Yeah. But it wasn't.
And
because it does not stand for that. It stands for an army that fought for their lives just like the North did.
And this flag is not the original Confederate flag. The original Confederate flag was a square.
The original Confederate flag was down. It was a square.
Exactly. And it had the rest of it was white.
Yeah. But this one is the shape of an actual flag.
This one.
Look it up online.
This one is a replica of the battle flag. Mm-hmm. And the first original flag, like he said, was a square, and the rest of the flag was white. That was our first flag. We changed it because they said it resembled the American flag too much, which at the time, the American flag was the same way. So they changed this flag to it was a cross, was it not? It's like a cross shape.
It was a square with one red line.
Yeah, okay, it was a square with a red line in it. And they said that it resembled the second American flag. Because remember, the North changed the American flag more than once. Because the first one had 13 stars.
Mm-hmm. Right. 13 colonies.
Right. So then we changed to the square X. Now, it was not a rectangle at the time. It was square X, just like this one, but smaller. So now we have the duplicate. We have the replica of the battle flag. So to say that this flag is racist, and it was not during the Civil War, it wasn't even around. So someone needs to read up on their history, and I don't see racist on it. It doesn't have the word on it.
It doesn't have racist on it.
No, it doesn't have slavery on it either.
I have a question for you. All those stars is that for all the Confederate states?
Yes.
So each one of these stars are for each state that bled their blood for what they believed in.
Exactly.
But really, it wasn't the South that rebelled. It was the North. It changed something.
Mm-hmm.
But see...
And here we are again remaking history.
Fighting for it. See, though, just like Martin Luther King, he fought for rights for black people, and then.
Wait, you said black people? Martin Luther King did black people, right?
Yeah.
Now, weren't these the same race that fought on the Southern side too?
I do believe it. Some people would try to say they were forced into it, but no, they weren't.
No. I thought they went into it willfully for the same reason we did it, for the flag, for our Southern pride, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, but it seems kind of suspicious to me that all of a sudden the Confederate flag is being banned, right?
Mm-hmm. And that, but before then, before all this trying to ban the flag, there was no problem with it. Nobody cared really.
Right.
Just like anything else.
Exactly. Well, let me get back to what I'm saying. Now, the Confederate flag was being banned. Okay. Not long afterwards, our 5 Marines were killed by a Muslim,
Yes.
and the Capitol doesn't care, right?
Apparently not. I guess they think our soldiers are expendable.
Yeah. Well, you take a soldier's life, you're taking away a family.
You're taking away a father or a mother from a family.
Right. Now, I've noticed lately there's been a lot of killing and a lot of burning of flags.
For this right here, just this simple cloth. The cloth does not mean anything. It's what it stands for, though. It shows that we will fight for what we believe in. Just like
this flag.
Yeah, exactly like
Our
that
men and
flag.
women go overseas to fight for this flag, to fight for our country, fight for your freedom. And yet, our freedom is being ripped away from us.
But wait a minute, didn't we just legalize gay marriage in all states?
Yes.
So, wait a minute, this happened around the same time, so we're pretty much taking freedom from one person and giving it to someone else.
Mm-hmm. Now, I don't mean any personal offense towards anyone when I say this. They took this flag and replaced it with a rainbow flag.
I don't believe that.
Okay, the day that they banned or the next day after they banned the Confederate flag, rainbow flags went up.
Facebook.
It's all over Facebook.
That's...
Now, I don't know if it's going to be posted on people's homes or whatnot, but I do know that it's on Facebook. All over it. My Facebook turned into a rainbow.
So what about this? What if I went against the gay pride flag and I got a whole bunch of people to riot, like just, what is it called? Boycott?
Yep.
Boycott the flag. But wait a minute, then all the homosexuals and lesbians and just everybody else would be like, no, the flag just means our freedom. Doesn't the rebel flag mean the same thing for others?
That's what I always thought.
It's, well, we can't just take away that.
No.
Well,
you can't take away my heritage. You can't take away my pride from my Confederate flag.
I heard
Just
they're
you
trying
can't
to take
it
away
from me.
this.
Huh?
I heard they're trying to take away this.
That's what I heard too. Now, I don't think Americans would go for that.
No. I think they're just trying to start a war, trying to take this away, because you gotta understand, well, if you try to take something away from somebody, you best believe that they're gonna fight for it. It doesn't matter if it's anything. But see, there's rappers talking about they're in love with drugs and everything else, but yet we don't bat an eye towards that.
Mm-hmm.
We have a flag that's been around for over hundreds of years,
Exactly.
and just now they're talking about it, they're banning it, just for what though?
Now, I don't know, but I did watch a video a little earlier saying that Obama didn't ban it because it was racist or of slavery. He just wanted to ban it. Now,
Why don't you just do that?
No. Where does this make sense? Why do you want to ban something just because you can?
Do you believe Obama's just trying to ban it just so he won't because elections, if there's like a war like this, there's no elections that can be held, so he won't be put out of office and be replaced.
No, my opinion on that is he's banning that flag to get America to tear itself apart. And then he's going to finish this off.
When taking away all our freedom, then we'll be pretty much become Korea.
Vulnerable.
Yeah, we would have a king instead of a president.
We would pretty much have an emperor.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't we leave England? Was it England?
You might have. I left Ireland, which was actually
Well, I mean,
slaves by the British. If you don't really understand, just as black people were. But see, Irish were slaves longer. We were starved. Our ports were we were pretty much sealed off from the rest of the world. And even the people that had it worse than us was Jewish, from Jerusalem, that were enslaved by the Egyptians to build their monuments. So really, it's just fighting over nothing, because everybody is everybody's history, all their ancestors have all gone through stuff. Others are trying to say, oh, theirs are worse. But really, why can't we just say it was awful and just get over it? Why do we have to really keep it? Because there's a Black History Month, but for what? To remember the past? If we remember the past was awful. So really, if you try to delete that history, why don't you delete Black History Month? Because it is really promoting racism. It's making everybody remember that we were once racist, as everybody was. You can't take away racism unless you just take away the thought of it, the thought of everything being racist. That's what I just don't understand.
Now, no matter what you do, like you said, no matter what you do, racism will always be around. Now, me myself, I'm not racist. I love, I have black friends. I have mixed nieces or cousins. I'm sorry, and it's not about racist. Racist is always going to be around. So drop that shit. Drop it.
Yeah.
Let it go.
As long as there's different races, there's always going to be some kind of pure group that's saying, "No, that's bad." No. But really, who really cares anymore? It's been too long to fight for something so simple.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but I've been kind of watching everything going on, and it seems like to me that we may be headed towards another civil war the way we're going.
To tell you the truth, I think it's already started. We're just trying to deny it.
Yeah. Well, y'all can thank Obama for that one.
Yeah. So if you are somewhat close to Obama, or you're even watching it yourself, you gotta remember something. You ain't gonna take it away without a fight. Because we will fight. You could try to take away our gun, but that's not gonna happen. You can't do that. That's something you cannot take. You don't have the power. You don't have the people, because there's more of us than there are of you. For each, probably like a county, there's probably about 30 cops for a county,
Mm-hmm.
and there's probably about 4,000 for a small town or so.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 30 against 1,000. Wait a minute. So when it all adds up, you probably have I'm just shooting arrows, but about 1 million cops and about 2 billion people.
Yeah.
And, well, that's just not going to work. Because you got to remember, there's military personnel that they love the flag. They had it tattooed on the body. What are you going to do? Tear it off of their skin? You can't do that.
That brings me to another point. We have a friend that actually had a tattoo of a Confederate flag. Their arm with the skull and everything. Yeah, what was it? He went
At
to
the hospital.
He was at the hospital. They had him cover it up because it was offensive.
Dyersburg Hospital.
If it's offensive, what if what them saying, calling it offensive, what if that is actually offensive? It's offensive to our heritage.
Mm-hmm.
That's just like us not liking, I don't know. Didn't African Americans have their own flag with the march and all that boycott?
So, yeah.
They did. What if they brought that flag back? Because I think actually some people actually have that flag.
Mm-hmm.
What if we say we don't like that's offensive? How? They were just fighting for the freedom. Same thing for us. We're just fighting for our freedom. We weren't fighting to keep slaves. We don't care. We're just back then. Some people were. They were just afraid to lose their way of life because that's how pretty much everybody made their money was slaves because they bought slaves from the same race that we had slaves from. So
Really?
yeah, we actually, and then actually after some people would actually let the slaves go, give them a little money in their pocket. See, they weren't just really slaves; they were paid. They gave them lodging, food, and actually some of them were paid. They weren't paid much because heck, it was back then.
Yeah.
And then there was black platoon in the Civil War, like actually people that fought in the army. They were actually, it was bad because they were paid $1 less. But back then, that was actually a lot.
Oh yeah.
But see, that was back then.
Mm-hmm.
If we're fighting about it now, will racism still continue because we keep bringing up the past? That's just like someone getting in a fight and then someone else bringing it up. Isn't that causing more problems than forgetting it and moving on and shaking hands? So we're bringing it back up. So we can fight about it more. So more people can die for it. So those people that died for it before, it's for nothing. But
Here's my question for you. Was there ever a peace treaty between the North and the South?
I do believe so.
No. With Obama banning the flag,
Isn't that destroying the peace treaty?
I believe so. See, here's the problem, though. None of our generals are around. They all died.
Pretty much all the ones in actual power that.
Now they're trying to dig them up.
I guess that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna dig
Yeah.
them up, slap them in the face, yelling at them a couple times, saying we're taking your flag. You can't do nothing about it. That's pretty much. That's stupid.
You know, I read something the other day I don't know what group it was. There was a group in Memphis that, Memphis had been waiting on permission to dig up the general's grave so they could move him, right? Well, this group decided to break ground on his grave with a shovel and wanting other people to help them. Wanted to dig it up because the city wasn't working fast enough.
But they were trying to dig up the grave.
Yeah.
In so many religions all across the world, that is, you can't do that. You can't just, it's against, it's not a law. Actually, I think it is a law to dig up a grave. It's actually called grave robbery.
Yep.
But really, that's actually disgracing just the dead. You can't do that. Like, if you're like Hispanic or Mexican, well, pretty much the same thing, I guess. I don't really know. They actually have it. Oh, well, they have the Day of the Dead on October the 31st, which they worship the dead because they're so against. So if they did that, they would be going against their own religion. African Americans, their true like heritage is like, well, the gods of Africa, really. That'd be, and they have a rule against them. They say curses and all that. And like death and disease would be brought upon you if you dig up someone's grave or disgrace their burial. So pretty much to do that, you're disgracing the body in every other religion. So,
now, isn't that also? See, this my personal opinion. This general was going to follow war. This general was resting. Okay, if I'm not mistaken, they dug him up from his original grave place, and then placed him into the park. And now they want him to dig him up again and put him back in a grave, from what I'm understanding, in another state.
Didn't he die in that state?
Yes. He actually died in Memphis,
Oh.
from my understanding.
But still, digging up a soldier, Confederate Union, or just any.
Just because they thought he was in for the slavery, that's why they're digging him up.
Tell you the truth, he wasn't really in for slavery.
No, this one actually did. I don't think he had any slaves.
No, I think he really just did it because they asked him, and like he got paid to, pretty much. But that's like, if we allow them to dig him up, wouldn't that be no different than allowing someone else to dig up a Marine or a naval officer or the U.S. Army just going into the gravesite? They have their own grave.
Mm-hmm. I think it's.
What if we gone and dug them up? Wouldn't that be just disgraceful to America
Let me tell you what.
And their family.
and their family?
You know, if the roles were switched, okay, and the blacks were us, you know, during that time during the Civil War, and they were on the South, and we were on the North, okay. How would they like it if 100 years later we took their flag away from them and said, you know what, we're banning this. It's a sign of racism and slavery. We do not want this flag. How would they like it?
I tell you the truth. There's black people and white people on both sides. They were both fighting for what they believe in.
Exactly.
See, we can't really say something about them really, like, saying something because it's their opinion. Just like we have an opinion that it's our flag, but still, you can't take it away. It's not yours. Just like we can't walk at someone's house. There's a pretty vase right there. What if we picked it up and just left?
All right.
It's stealing.
All right.
Yeah, it's stealing.
So, in closing, I would like to say this.
Oh, thank God.
Leave this flag alone. You're going to cause a war. Actually, we're already damn near on the breaking point of fucking civil war. Leave this flag alone. Pay attention to what Obama is doing to our country before it's far too late.
Fight for what you believe in. Doesn't matter what it is. If you believe in it and it's a good cause, fight for it. Because if you don't, who will? Thank you.